Welcome. My name is Kate Harmon. I'm the Director of Cross-Campus Engagement for the Lundquist Center for Entrepreneurship. And today on our Getting Ahead series, I'm very excited to have with us Russel Wong. Russel is the Managing Director of Russel Wong Photography, which is a commercial and fine art photography studio based in Singapore. So welcome, Russel. We're happy to have you here with us.
Thanks for having me, Kate.
You were born and your studio, as I mentioned, is based in Singapore. I'm interested to see if you could share with us a little bit about your upbringing and early exposure to the arts. What was sort of the role of arts and how did that manifest in your development?
Yeah, I grew up in a family that I would say, kind of very open-minded and kind of encourage the arts. So we all play the piano or we were forced to play the piano. I played two instruments. My siblings, my brothers and sisters, they played instruments. My dad would always, before he took us on vacation to, let's say, Europe, he would have us read up about the museums and the specific art pieces and landmarks, just to know about it. So it's more fun when you go and see this sculpture, right? So it was kind of always like that, and it was always kind of weaved into what we did. You're kids, so you don't know better. You just do it, right? But I enjoyed drawing. So I enjoyed drawing to the age of maybe 12, 13. So it was the arts was kind of always kind of lurking around,
Your father was a doctor, is that correct?
Yes, okay. My father's a doctor, yeah. So we come from a quite, the typical conservative family, but actually the thinking was not that conservative. Although my father was a doctor, because he was, although he was academically inclined, but like I say, the arts was important and music was important. That's why we had to play instruments, and that, I was happy that happened that way.
That's great. I know that when you were about 16, you decided that you wanted to spend your college years in the United States, and you started to sort of research different colleges in the U.S. Can you share with us why you selected the University of Oregon and more importantly, kind of amplify how your interest in sports helped you solidify that decision?
I selected Oregon because I love the rain. Just kidding. No. No, because I just research schools, and of course, schools on the West Coast and everywhere in America. And my dad's friend had a kid going to school in Oregon and suggested Oregon to just take a look at it. And then when I did the research, I was happy to know it was part of the Pac-10. Pac-10 then. So you had Stanford, you had UCLA, you had all the really major schools that I knew about, and many people here in Singapore knew about, and Oregon, belonged to that conference. So I go, oh, that's great. And found out that he had a great architecture program, a great JA school, Brewster's programs, and of course, the most important thing to me was I found out Nike started in Oregon. So that kind of perked my interest, I think more than perked my interest. Plus, because I'm a huge sports fan. I'm a huge sports fan, and not just a sports fan. I was a huge track and field fan. I was like a student of the sport. I bought every single issue of track and field news and read it and had it subscription, sent airmail to me in Singapore. So with all these things I found out about the school, I felt like, hey, it's a great fit, and it's in a small town, because I didn't want to be in a big city, because I'm from a big city. So I wanted to experience that university life, that's a bit more like you're living in your ivory tower, and it's all there is. It's just a university, and I wanted that kind of a life.
That's great. Well, and you are just a self-described sneakerhead, or you were as a college student. And I know that once you were a student, almost immediately in your freshman year, you started to hang out at Hayward Field, where this was really where you started to develop your interest in photography and started to really capture some of the athletes. Can you share with us a little bit about your love of hanging out at the field. You know, you have some interesting stories about meeting Bill Bowerman, the legendary co-founder of Nike and track coach. Can you share with us a little bit of just the flavor of what that was like for you as an international student coming here and seeing maybe some idols that you've always wanted to meet?
Yeah, I mean, you got to understand that, you know, I'm from Singapore, I'm half across the world, and suddenly I go to a school or to a location where, wow, all these people I read about, they're all like running around here on the track or they're coaching, and it was just really like, it's like Christmas came early, you know, it was just unbelievable. I mean, I was 16 and a half, nearly 17 then,
Oh,
and I didn't know what to make of it. I mean, it was so too much to digest for a kid from Singapore. So, you know, I picked up my camera, and a lot of people asked me, how did I start photography? Or, you know, it wasn't something I wanted to get. Dad gave it to me to take pictures of myself, but I ended up taking pictures of the athletes. So in a way, you know, I used my photography to kind of meet the athletes, to photograph the athletes, because I kind of idolize them, you know, from afar, half across the world. And, you know, trying to find out things. I was very curious. And then I would speak to some people and I say, hey, where's this Bill Bowerman coach guy? And someone would tell me, oh, you know, he coaches in the dirt track, you know, on Saturdays, because he's no more the head coach here. But he still coaches on the dirt track on certain days, at certain times. And I would just go find him, you know, and I, you know, just to see who he was. But at that time, I was still kind of running for fun. You know, I was running 10K road races for the fun of it. You know, I was a serious kind of amateur, wanted to bring my time down. So when I tracked down Mr. Bauman, he thought I was on scholarship. He said, hey, kid, are you on scholarship? He said, why you want to meet me? You want to bring your time down? I said, no. I'm just a regular kid from Singapore. And I read about you, I know about you, and you're an amazing coach. And I just want to bring my 10K time down. And so he's like, oh, okay. Here, let me write your schedule. And here you go. And just meet me every Saturday at 9 o'clock. I was quite amazed.
wow.
So that was quite exciting for me because, I mean, I never thought I would meet him. And let alone, I'm just a regular amateur hobbyist, you know, runner. You know, I was on a scholarship or whatever. And while I was talking to him of these Olympians were like running around, you know, and being trained by him, people like Henry Marsh, and it was just very surreal for me. So that's how I ended up meeting Mr. Bauman.
That's awesome. A great story. Well, let's talk about in your sophomore year. You had a particular encounter really that transformed your entire life because it really sort of solidified your talent in photography. Can you share with us what happened in your sophomore year that really changed your life?
I was, you know, just flipping through the register guard on a Sunday morning, and I saw that Sebastian Coe, the world record holder for, you know, he had 4 world records by then. The British middle distance runner. I mean, to me, one of the greatest, if not maybe the greatest middle distance runner that held 4 world records. And he was coming in to do a running clinic at Alton Baker Park, which was across the dorm, you know, right across the street from my dorm. So I hopped on my bike, my friend. I brought my camera, 1 flash, 1 roll of film. Went down there to the picnic shed. Here, you know, here was Sebastian Coe. To me, it was like, whoa, Sebastian Coe. He comes over together with a Nike rep and starts giving his little, you know, very informal running clinic. There were like 20 people in the shed, 20, 30 people in the shed. And I had my camera. I was sitting on the floor and I was just shooting him while he was giving his running clinic. When he put the mic down, I would just shoot. So I wouldn't have the mic in the shot. It would look like a portrait. The session ended. You know, I had him sign my photograph. I brought, because I bought the magazine, and he just signed the magazine, which I brought, went home. So when I went back and had the pictures I shot of him, these portraits enlarged my dorm room, the athlete friend came by and said, hey, Russell, this is great. You know, you should really bring this to Nike. You know, I said, well, like, yeah, show them to Nike. You might get some free equipment, free shoes. So that perked me up. So I'm like, oh, okay, I can get free shoes. That's pretty good. So, you know, you're a sophomore and you need shoes, right? Plus, I love sneakers anyway. So what I did was I went down to the mall in downtown Eugene, went to the Nike retail shop and asked them, hey, can I show my pictures to someone here in Nike? They said, well, we're just a retail shop, but let me give you the address of like kind of the corporate office, which is way away from town. And this is one guy, his name is Jeff Hollister, and maybe he can help you. So you call Jeff up and see what the deal is. So I called Jeff up. I said, hey, Jeff, I'm a student. I took pictures of Sebastian Coe. Can I come with my slides, one box of slides to come show you? He goes, sure, come on down. So I cycled like maybe, 10 miles in West 11th somewhere, on
And
my
this
second
was,
hand.
and just for context, Jeff Hollister, one of the original employees.
Employees, correct. I think he was like the third or fourth employee that Phil Knight hired. He's the main marketing guy. I mean, they call him like the greatest, track and field marketing guy.
Absolutely.
He was the one that was spotting people and signing them up. So I saw Jeff and I went, oh man, this is the same guy that brought Sebastian to the park for the running clinic. So Jeff was really sweet. He said, look, I was looking for pictures. No one shot him. Can I hang on to these? I said, sure. So I didn't know what to make of it. I mean, I didn't know how this business worked. So Jeff held onto the slides over summer. I went home for summer in Singapore. Not long, I got a call at 3 a.m, and my father woke me up, said, hey, some guy just called you up at 3 a.m. I wonder who it is. So of course, I didn't know who it was. I picked the phone up, and on the other side of the line was Mr. John Hendershot, who was the editor for Track and Field News. And said, hey, Russell, I got your box of slides here. We love your pictures. Can I run it? Can I run the Sebastian Coe pictures for a cover? And that's why I'm calling you to ask for permission. I'm like, you don't need me to ask for permission. So, because I don't know how this business works, right? So, yeah, and we're going to sign you a check, we'll send you a check for $160 and we'll send it to your dorm. Okay, cool. So that was it. And I was like, whoa, that happened pretty fast. So I went back to Eugene. I rushed to the bookstore, the UFO bookstore, went looking for this magazine. I bought a stack of it. I could not believe my picture was on the cover. And then I went back to Nike to talk to Jeff to see what the deal was, or should I collect my pictures from him? How does it work? When someone buys your photographs, right? Do they keep it or do I get it back? I mean, there's simple questions like that. I had no idea how it worked. So went back and Jeff goes, hey, we really love the picture. I'm so happy you got a cover. I really like to work with you. Would you shoot for Nike? Would you shoot our athletes, when they ran or at track meets? I go, of course. And he says, well, the deal is I can give you a pair of shoes for every 6 photographs that we use. I go, done. So, in no time, I was running like a shoe shop in my dorm room. I was getting like 6 pairs a month because I was shooting all the track meets, all the dual meets, and even meets down in California. And mind you, I never got a pass throughout my career at the U of O. So I was there jumping fences, and they thought I was for real already because I was already there shooting for quite a while. I would jump the fence, make friends with the marshals, and they thought I was already, oh, he's kind of legit, he's always been there, whatever. But I jumped fences. I never had a pass, and I never really got kicked out, hardly. Only for the meets that were outside Oregon, I got kicked out a couple of times. Yeah, but that was life as a student trying to trying to just get my photograph. Yeah, because I wanted my shoes so bad.
That's awesome. Really amazing. Good story. So as a college student, photography was still though like a hobby for you. So I know that you originally, when you started UO, you were a computer science major, and then soon after changed to finance, where you would go on to get your degree in business administration. As you think about now with your own commercial and fine art studio, how has having a business side helped you or added value to you being able to do the business side of your livelihood?
Yeah. Well, this obviously, you're there to go to school and learn something about the business side of things, and try to understand the management side, the marketing side, the finance side, accounting side. So you do obviously find out and you do learn from it. because I think no matter what business you're in, like they say, even the business of charity is a business, right? So us, the creative people are known for being kind of flakes and, this, like not doing well on the money side, but they just want to go sing or want to go play the guitar or whatever. So I made sure I didn't want to be in that, in that space. So I just was going to make sure that, I tried at least kind of understood it. If I wanted to use it, I could use it. But one thing kind of hit me was, I felt that like the marketing side was very important, and that kind of got my interest, because the management, I don't run a huge company, so okay, it's only me. But the marketing side for me was what kind of perked my interest, especially if you're I'm a one-man show, right? I'm self-employed, so who does the marketing? Me. Who does all this stuff? Me. Yeah, so that part of it, I was kind of like more paying attention a lot to the marketing side of it, and then fit the pieces in as I slowly started my business, when I went back.
That makes sense. After you graduated from UO, you ended up enrolling in the Art Center College of Design in Southern California.
Yep.
To get your Bachelor of Fine Arts in Photography. And it was really during this time that you started to study portrait photography, and it's this medium that you've made your international reputation, photographing global celebrities from around the world. I'm curious, like what is your aesthetic? And we'll be posting your website for our audience to see. It's Russel Wong photo.com. But how would you describe your aesthetic, and how did that experience help you develop that?
I think, like any artist, like I think like the principles you hold dear to you, or how you were taught, or how you were brought up, that it affects everything you do. And, the movies you make, the songs you sing, everything. And I came from a family, like I said, my father was very, he was kind of like no nonsense, and it's kind of like when you do something, or when you make something, make sure it lasts. Make sure it just doesn't, like in society these days, right? Things come and go in a month. Trends come and go in a month. You buy a pair of shoes or whatever, or a dress, you don't use it after 3-4 months. It's very disposable in the society we live in. So I kind of held that, like kind of my mantra. Like I wanted to make sure that whatever I created, I wanted it to be timeless. And how does it become timeless? There are ways of making it timeless, like design. So I want to make sure my designs were kind of timeless. The lighting I use are kind of timeless. I don't use any filters. I don't use any Photoshop, hardly. It's all about light and design. So like the real basics. And when I studied art, why do we still study Michelangelo? Why do we still study Leonardo da Vinci? Because there's something there that this lasted the test of time. And these aspects that they incorporated in their art, it's just amazing design and amazing lighting, amazing concepts. So I kind of use that, and it's kind of been, at the back of my head. I guess that's how I was brought up, that you buy something that lasts. It might cost a bit more. Buy something that's handcrafted, which no one speaks about now. And obviously because it's too expensive. Because I find when a hand touches something, it just changes a product. Not a computer, not technology. When someone is behind there with a hand, with a needle stitching something, a book or a bag, it's just different. So like photography, the same thing. So I wanted to make sure that I came from that. And I used it, and thanks to the way I was taught from was growing up, to appreciate these things. Yeah.
Has your aesthetic changed over time, especially going from like film to digital, or anything like that you can speak of?
Not a whole lot, because it's interesting you brought up, is it from film to digital? Does it change? It's a tool, it's a medium, so it's like a camera. You might have the best cameras or in the world now or whatever, but it's just kind of like, it's just a tool. It's just a tool to me, but still cut lighting and concept and all that, that's more important to me. And these tools, yeah, they will change. Technology will change it, but you can't get away from something that's well crafted. something that's handmade, well crafted, and just beautifully made, you know, and that you need a person behind it. So all this technology might come in and seep in and out. In fact, I kind of try to stay away from that technology part and not be a slave for it, because sometimes you can be a slave for it. Like everyone's using Photoshop. So when and everyone uses Photoshop, and if I don't use Photoshop, I'm distinguishing my product and myself from the rest, because my pictures look different. And I want them to look different, you know. That's the whole name of the game, to make sure your product is different from the whole crowd, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, one of the hallmarks of your work is that a lot of your clients are repeat customers, and they ask for you to repeatedly photograph them. And you know, you have this ability to get people to reveal themselves. And I'm curious, based on our conversation, I know earlier, that you talked about how you had always an innate sense of making people feel comfortable about themselves. So, you know, how has your, you know, communication skills, do you think, helped you in allowing your subjects to better reveal themselves on camera?
Yeah. You know, it's sometimes not just purely communication, right? I speak English, they speak English. If I speak Cantonese, you can speak Cantonese. It's not just about the language and just purely communicating and asking them what to do or directing them what to do. It starts from the time, in fact, it starts from the time you get the assignment. Like if I'm supposed to shoot this musician, and I know I'm going to shoot the person tomorrow or the next day, I do so much research. So the preparation that comes ahead of even the shoot, I do so much. I mean, I go get all the tunes that they albums that they wrote or composed or produced, and I listen to everything. And I get snippets now. Of course, it's so easy with the internet. I just get all the information and kind of like draw this kind of visual caricature of them, taking parts of them that I think are important. And that's what a portrait photographer does, right? You take certain parts and then you put it in the picture, and that kind of like reveals who this real person is. Using visual representation or whatever, communicating visually. So the preparation is just, I mean, I love the preparation part, because if it's a movie star or actor or actress, I go watch all the movies and I go, you know, I figure that out. So when they come into my studio, I feel I know them so well that I can speak to them on a level where it's kind of even and we're on the same level playing field. It's not that I'm asking, oh, so what's a new project? What have you done? I mean, it's kind of insulting. So like the great interviewers, you know, that do all these interviews, or great journalists, they do so much research, of course, you know, about the subjects, because it's nothing more off-putting than the subject feels it they feel that when you don't know their work. It's quite insulting that way. So I can just, you know, just off the cuff, I'm just ask them, oh, you know, this album you were singing on, or this album you're playing on, what was that? And they kind of appreciate that, because they realize that at least I took the time to find out, or at least I truly enjoyed their music. And that, with that trust, only can you operate and get the best pictures, because a photo session is two ways. You know, it's not just me directing, just a movie. It's not just Martin Scorsese just directing and telling De Niro what to do. It's both ways. The trust has to be both ways for you to give. And when you're able to give without this wall, that, you know, it's more sincere. And for that wall to come down, you need to gain their trust. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to gain their trust and be, you know, sincere about it at the same time, you know, which I am. I kind of enjoy what they do. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it sounds like, I mean, almost like you've had this innate curiosity your whole life, right? That you're willing to investigate something, and that led you to Hayward Field, going down to seek that out, and this curiosity and
jumping fences.
Yeah, exactly. Has really helped you well. I loved how you talked a little bit about how you went about preparing for this. So when you do get an assignment, you know, is it often a client says, like, this is what I'm thinking? Is it a two-way street? Is it you proposing some ideas? How does that work?
It depends, and okay, it depends. If an agency calls you up, they have it drawn out already. So they have it drawn out. Okay, we want to go there, we want to play in there, and there you go, because that's been approved by the client. So that's an advertising job. And even with that, I try to introduce something and introduce a certain touch or certain thing I feel that might work better, just to solve the problem better. You know, it might be, some things are easy to draw but hard to photograph, and sometimes it doesn't work. So I try to still bring myself to like, okay, how can I make this better? How can I add a piece of myself in there? So that's more advertising, which is a bit more where, you know, your hands are tied most of the time because they have a visual that you got to follow. But editorial work, it's great. It's like, it's up to you and the fashion editor, and you just go create with a model. Obviously, like the private commissions, when I know the actor or actresses and they leave it to me or they have something in mind, I will try it. Like for Jackie Chan, for example, you know, we just try stuff because he's very open, you know, to trying new things. And I would suggest things. So it's a two-way street, and you kind of know when to push it and know how to bring it as far as you can. Depends on the parameters of the job, or sometimes there are no parameters of the job, which is great, which is what all artists want, all creative people want.
That makes sense. You know, do you have a favorite celebrity? Can you say that, or favorite subject that you've worked with, or should you not say that?
It's been shooting Jackie. I've been shooting Jackie Chan for like, gosh, like maybe 20 over years. And Jackie is always very interesting to shoot because he is just such a real guy, fun guy, and you never know what to expect. You know, what you see is what you get in the movies. And he's very creative because he directs all his fight sequences. So he can speak to me, explain to me in a more technical language, like how a cinematographer or how a photographer would talk, you know. So, and you know, he directs also, so he can, at least he knows what I'm trying to achieve, and I appreciate that. And he gets down on the set, and we go location hunting together because he's very involved, and I appreciate that too. So he might have better ideas than me, and I'm for one, just to get the best image. You know, it's not just about me, and it's my idea or whatever, but it's a collaboration. You know, the photograph is a collaboration, the piece of art is a collaboration, at least for photographer and the subject.
Is there a subject that you haven't yet photographed that you've always wanted to?
Oh boy, a lot of them are dead. Like I wanted to shoot Miles Davis so badly. I'm a huge jazz fan. You know, I love my music. I mean, like Miles, I would love to have shot Prince and never shot him. And like De Niro, Pacino, like the old Hollywood, couple of them. I haven't shot many of them, so those are the ones that I love because of just the body of work that they have, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not just about being a famous actor. I just look at the body of work. I appreciate the body of work. Makes it more fun for me to photograph, right? Because you kind of respect the person and really into their work personally, you know, emotionally.
In addition to your fine art or commercial art, you also do fine art, primarily landscapes.
Like the picture behind.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Nice.
I'm wondering, do you approach your subjects different from portrait to landscape? Is there, you know, I'm assuming a shared aesthetic, but you know, how would you sort of differentiate those two bodies?
It's obviously, like with the fine art, there are no confines. There's no parameters. So that's a big thing, you know. But then subject matter, people were quite shocked when, you know, the photograph behind me, that's a bamboo forest, you know, and they go, "What? You're shooting landscape? You know, you're doing all this Ansel Adams looking stuff, black and white." And because I was just known as a people photographer, fashion photographer, celebrity photographer, always shooting portraits. But you know, it's I was lucky because I get on a lot of the film sets with the famous and big directors in China like Zhang Yimou and of course Ang Lee I worked with, and I would use the opportunity to go to the beautiful locations that they pick, and I thought, you know, I must be mad if I never documented this location, this beautiful bamboo forest or wherever they're shooting. And that's how I started shooting landscape. But I thought it was easier because it's landscape, right? There's no one involved. You just put your camera and you just shoot, you know, after seeing all this amazing Ansel Adams photographs of Yosemite. But I tell you, the first time I went out there, you know, I got my butt kicked because I did not realize that it was so different, because When I'm shooting someone and doing a portrait, I have full control. Hey, wear that dress, put that makeup on, change the hair. Okay, I'll put you against a white background. Smile, don't smile, dance and jump, and they will do it. So you have full control over shooting a portrait. But for the landscape, I'm sitting there in a bamboo forest and that's it. If the sun doesn't shine, if it's cloudy, if it's misty, and that's all I'm left with. And if it doesn't look good, I come back the next day. So that's how difficult to me, I mean, when I started shooting landscape. But back to your question about how do I approach it, I approach it the same way, funnily enough. I mean, shooting a person, shooting a landscape. And the principles that we spoke about, like keeping it timeless, keeping it simple, keeping it not trendy and not have it go out of fashion in 3 months. I still want those qualities, be it a bamboo forest or a beautiful actress. So, like I say, it's about design, it's about lighting. And I keep that at the back of my head, and it always runs through my head like, hey, if I shoot this, will it last 50, 100 years? Will it date? That question always kind of goes into my head, and it drives me mad sometimes. Because I really want my images to really stand the test of time, not do something trendy, because like I say, trends last only 3 months, right? So I want to make sure that whatever I crafted, it was going to last forever. So that's how I approach both landscapes or whatever subject I'm shooting.
Is there any like subjects in the future that you're still like, potentially interested in tackling, or, do you see yourself ever going back and really investigating athletes again?
Yeah, I'm open to everything, if I had a chance to photograph an athlete again or for an ad, of course I'll do it, and I have done it before. So it's not that, I don't want to shoot athletes now, because the last time the photography I did was more sports photography, where I go to the track meet, and I don't really do so much of that at all. I do it for fun. And for me, it's more like a sitting, it's more like a set, something that's, it's planned. That's the type of photography I enjoy doing, and mainly this is what I do. I think like I would like to, if just to move away from what I do, or maybe even in the same language or whatever. I mean, yeah, I would love to do a film. I've done some short films before, and some directed commercials and music videos. So something to explore, that I might do a documentary or some sort. Just to use use the video camera, just to do something different. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, my last question is, for students that may be interested in following a similar career path as your own, do you have any advice or recommendations on how they can get into becoming a professional photographer? What should they think about to really stand out on what is really a very competitive field?
Yeah. I think, firstly, obviously, and you probably heard this before, you got to love what you do. And I love what I do. I figured that I haven't worked a day in my life. That's how I feel, and not just love what you do, but also I think you want to arm yourself with photography. Is obviously, it's a science, and so you got to learn the sciences of the craft. So like I say, you got to master your craft. So if you're a musician, you got to master the guitar or the drum. So you got to master your craft. And of course, the other thing would be, of the marketing part is important. And for me, I've always been like friendly to a lot of people. I've always been easy to get along with. I just enjoy being around people. I've been very inquisitive since I was a kid. Mainly also because I'm open to a lot of things. I'm interested in so many things. And just because I'm a photographer, I don't just look at photography books. In fact, that's the last thing I would want to do. I mean, photography is just a part of your life. It's infused within you. But I think the life you lead and the interests you have, that all adds to it. So if you're a singer, I mean, you want to sing about experiences and make it more authentic. Therefore, you got to experience it. So, just to be very open and not judge everything. Like I say, if I keep judging everything that I shoot, or people or cultures, and my pictures will look so restrictive. It will be so restrictive looking, and so like, kind of just very shallow. You got to come in with an open eye and kind of embrace everything, and actually that's what a portrait photographer does. You know, it's like no one is perfect. And, you know, if you got a mole or whatever, that's your defining moment, so to speak. And as a portrait photographer or a caricature artist, you want to make sure that mole is in, because that defines that person. And if you embrace that whole look, it makes it more authentic. You know, there's no such thing as perfect, you know. So the imperfections are perfections. You know, sometimes some people say that. So I always keep an open mind, and just absorb everything, you know, from music to films to just traveling. Traveling helped a lot to kind of like sculpt the way I look at things, and how I more accepting, you know, more accepting to different cultures and different visuals and different styles. Because with all that I absorb, I can use it somehow in some portrait. You know, so I have more tools in my toolbox to play with, right? More elements.
That makes sense. Russel Wong is the managing director of Russel Wong Photography. Please check out his photos at russellwongphoto.com. That's with one L. Russell, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Go Ducks.